Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of our First Person Interview, a production of PressProsMagazine.com and sponsored by the Buckeye Insurance Group in Piqua, as well as the Coberman Dickerson Agency representing Buckeye in Piqua, Troy, and Covington. The subject again this week is football, and an opportunity to talk with an old friend and the head football coach of the Milton Union Bulldogs. Brett Pearce joins us. First of all, thank you for doing this on short order. And the second thing, congratulations on a nice win for you the other night. You got some points on the board, you got your offense going, and that was welcome.
Oh, very much so, very much so. We had a 3-week stretch where we were playing some tough competition. We didn't do as well as we could have, and it was nice to get things turned around and get another win.
A lot of people will fail to appreciate the fact that before the season you set out goals. Every team has its focus and goals, and you go ahead and you lose a couple of games like that, and a lot of people in the community lose sight that you still have goals. You still got a lot to play for. They're writing you off and they're saying, hey, next year. But I know at the midway point you're not thinking next year.
Well, community members want you to be 10-0 every season.
Absolutely.
And of course we would love to be 10-0 every season. I'll tell you, some of my best coaching jobs have been on 6-4 teams that probably could have been 3-7 teams. Right. We really knew coming into this season that we had a lot of inexperience. We returned basically 4 guys on both sides of the ball, and we knew some of those early games against bigger schools were going to be dogfights. We set goals at different levels, and some of the top ones we set we're not going to reach. You know, we're not going to beat Tip. That's a goal every year. But we still have goals that we want to reach, starting with league champions. We're 1-0 in the Buckeye Division after this last win Friday night over Middletown Madison, and that's something we're in the hunt for.
Brett, do you agree with me that it seems to me that from the point of one season ending until the next one begins, the focus of high school football is about making the playoffs? I don't particularly like that because I'm traditionalist enough where I believe league championships count. And I think that gets in people's minds. If you lose 2 or 3 games early in the year, you're not going to make the playoffs, so what's there left to play for?
I agree, and I know many coaches who feel the same way. They feel like the league championship has been diminished, that everybody's playing for the playoffs, and all you have to do is look around at leagues and how schools have been hopping from league to league, and everything's changing, alignments, divisions. Everything changes, and the impetus for almost all of that is playoff points. Trying to get enough wins to make the playoffs, but against teams that have enough points to make the playoffs. And unfortunately, playoffs are driving it all, and it's football. And you don't see it in every other sport because every other sport is in the playoffs to start with. And so having that as a goal is a good thing, but I think the way it's changed the landscape of conferences is kind of a negative.
Our guest this week on First Person is Brett Pearce. We'll be back to talk more about the 2010 Bulldogs with Coach Pearce right after this message from the Coberman Dickerson Agency in Piqua, Troy, and Covington.
The Coberman Dickerson Agency, with offices in Troy, Piqua, and Covington, is pleased to be the sponsoring Buckeye Insurance Group agent for this First Person interview. For farm, auto, and homeowner insurance, Coberman Dickerson is one of the area's fastest growing Buckeye providers, with a history of service and competitive rates. And we're also an outstanding source of coverage for families with young drivers. For farm, auto, and home policies, call the Coberman Dickerson Agency, proud to represent Buckeye Insurance Group.
Once again, everyone, our guest this week on First Person, Brett Pearce, the head football coach of the Milton Union Bulldogs. I have a philosophic question about coaching at this stage of the season, because I've never talked to a football coach that didn't really appreciate the experience of his seniors, what they bring to the program. And they're all a little bit different about the last 5 games of a senior's career. And I'm wondering if you're one of those guys that sits down with them at some point and says, hey, look, you got 5 games left to play. Make the most of this. Appreciate every minute of it, because there's no football promised after high school for about 98% of high school football players. Or are you a coach that says, you know, we're a team, we handle this as a team, and you let the seniors sort that out for themselves?
Well, we definitely do a lot that is team-oriented, and there are a lot of times that we try to make sure the seniors, they feel special, but they don't special. But we definitely, you see the season change. At the beginning, they're excited. Senior year's coming in. We're going to start. Hey, we're going to kick butt this year. That's, you know, every senior. And then the second half, a lot of it turns to, wow, I have 4 games left, I have 3 games left, I have 2 games left. And so you see the attitude change as it starts to get done, and we do. We sit down with them. It's a good teaching tool, maybe when you have a negative game, where you say, okay, you have 5 games left. What do you want your senior year to be? You know, you had some goals, you had some things at the beginning. Now things have changed where we are. It might be better, might be worse. What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to remember out of your senior year? So we definitely use that. Now luckily for me, I've got a great group of seniors this year. Good quality kids. They're not just good football players, but they're good kids. If I had a daughter, I'd let her date them. Those kind of boys.
That's a good endorsement. We talked before the season began, Brett, about some of the young men on your football program. I remember you said we're going to be smaller, we're going to be faster, we're going to be more athletic. We don't have the big thumpers we've had in the past. You talked a lot about one of those seniors, Adam Martin, who I've seen twice this year. He's been very impressive. I know he had 200 yards for you the other night, and actually playing, as you said a week or so ago, a little bit out of position, given that he had almost 1,000 yards as a tailback for you last year. He's your quarterback this year.
Well, yeah, part of that was our inexperience at offensive line, and knowing we had 3 big boys in our first 4 games with Oakwood, Tip, and Bellbrook. We felt like our best opportunity was going to be to spread the defense out and try to find some running lanes in there. And Adam's done a great job with that. Now this past Friday, on film it looked like we were going to match up well with our line against Middletown Madison. So we actually brought in a backup quarterback. We put Adam in the backfield and handed him the ball 18 times, and he turned it into a 200-yard rushing night. So he's been very versatile. He's been great attitude-wise. And I think the rest of the way out, depending on who we play, when we play the tougher teams like Carlisle this week, he might be playing more quarterback to spread the teams out. If we face up with teams that we think we can handle on the line, he might be at running back. It's nice to have a kid like that.
Why don't you take a moment before we get done here and talk about some of the other kids you're building for in terms of the future, because you were very high on some of your underclassmen kids that have played before, haven't played a lot on Friday night. I know some of those kids have made big contributions already.
We have a number of underclassmen playing right now. Jacob Finfrock at running back is doing an outstanding job, averaging just under 100 yards a game and doing a great job. We have a sophomore playing fullback, Tyler Brown, who is doing a wonderful job. And then we have a number of offensive linemen that are underclassmen like Jordan Poland and Austin Dickinson. And so those kids are doing a really great job for us. Defensively, we have a couple guys sneaking in there too. Jason Antones is playing some corner. Clay Minton is playing. Chris Boggs, a sophomore linebacker. And so we've just got a number of kids that are young kids that are really stepping up for us right now. And the better they get when they're no longer sophomores, that's when we'll be a little bit better.
So the future is bright for the Bulldogs.
Oh, absolutely, it is.
I can't let you get away because I've written about this several times relative to a very unique hobby that you have. Brett Pearce is an outstanding sleight of hand artist, somebody who likes to dabble in magic, legerdemain. I don't pretend to understand it, but I tell you, it's something that is spellbinding to me to watch. And I wondered if this afternoon, before we got away from the taping here, if you could share a little bit of what you do with magic with the people who watch. Show us a trick.
See a magic trick. Well, I don't know if you realize that the 7 of Hearts is a magic card. And if you throw it into the air, it will turn invisible, okay? Unless you reach up and grab it again. So there's that one for you, okay? Okay, there you go.
You know, there's 2 things I never do. I don't question coaching, and I don't ask how you do magic tricks. It's better left unknown. Thanks, Coach, again for joining us. Good to have you. Best of luck this week and the rest of the season.
Thanks again.
And it's always great to be in West Milton and talk football with Brett Pearce. That wraps up this week's edition of First Person. Again, a production of Press Pros Magazine, brought to you by the Buckeye Insurance Group in Piqua and the Cloverman Dickerson Agency in Troy, Piqua, and Covington. Again, we'll be back next week with another interview. Hope you'll join us then. Thanks again for supporting high school sports and your support of PressProsMagazine.com.
If you are looking for quality insurance protection from a reliable company, sold by professionals in communities like yours, that's what you'll get from Buckeye Insurance Group.
Buckeye Insurance Group, insuring the heartland.
To find your local Buckeye agent, visit buckeye-ins.com. Buckeye Insurance Group, insuring the heartland.
Insuring the heartland.